But we're going to start with the second Ashes Test, and Australia are now 2-0 up with 3 to play after an extraordinary day at Lord's. Ben Stokes nearly produced another miraculous innings. His 155 gave England hope of the most improbable victory, but that was overshadowed by the dismissal of Jonny Bairstow, stumped by Alex Carey after leaving his ground thinking it was the end of the over.
First thing needs to be said, it is out. The things that I obviously had to consider when I was out there was the fact that it was the last ball of the over. I very shortly questioned the umpires whether they had called over. You know, both umpires were making the gesture towards walking to their opposite position, going from square leg to standing to square leg. And you know, Jonny was in his crease and then left his crease to come out and have the conversation in between overs like every batsman does. I think if I was a fielding captain at the time, I would have put a lot more pressure on the umpires to ask them what their decision was around the over, and then would have had to have a real think around the spirit of the game and would I want to potentially win a game with something like that happening, and it would be no.
Well, it's fair to say England head coach Brendan McCullum wasn't happy about the incident. He said, "I can't imagine we'll be having a beer with them anytime soon. We have 3 tests to land some blows and try to win the Ashes. That is where our focus will be." Well, the players, including Bairstow with Cummins, shook hands after the conclusion of the match. Here is that handshake again. Ooh, if looks could kill. From Bairstow towards Cummins. So how did the Australian captain have any regrets not withdrawing their appeal?
I thought it was fair. You know, it's, you see Jonny do it all the time. He did it day one to Davey Warner. He did it in 2019 to Steve. It's a really common thing for keepers to do if they see a batter keep leaving their crease. So, Kez, full credit to him, saw the opportunity. I think Jonny did it a few balls beforehand. Rolled at the stumps. Jonny left his crease. You leave the rest to the umpires.
At the time of that stumping, I think Ben Stokes entered into your huddle and spoke to you. Was there any request from Ben at that point for you to withdraw the appeal, or what was actually said there? Because it seemed pretty fiery.
The conjecture was just whether over had been called, but the umpire made it clear that he didn't say over. It was all one motion. There was no pause or sneakiness about it. It was catch, throw straight away.
So controversy at Lord's. The crowd voiced their displeasure, and Stuart Broad was also getting stuck in. A great Ashes battle. Love being out there with Ben Stokes in that mood. Some controversial moments that will split opinions. That's sport. Lord's as loud and animated as I've ever heard it. On to Leeds we go.
Really think it's a bit of a schoolboy error from Bairstow. I think no matter what sort of level you play cricket at, there is absolutely no doubt that you always make sure that before you leave your crease, either an over's called or a ball is dead. And in this moment, he's forgotten one of the basic rules to do that. And I think Carey, who has played very well, I think, right through the series, both with bat and ball, is very, very astute in terms of what he did. He was on the money, and the result, per the umpire's decision, was correct.
Well, we've seen already how the majority of the crowd reacted to the Bairstow dismissal, and there were unsavoury scenes in Lord's famous long room. With Australia facing abuse, the MCC have apologised, confirming 3 members have been suspended. Well, that's how the members greeted Australia back into the pavilion at lunch. And as Australia made their way through, Khawaja and Warner got into an altercation with some of the members. Well, an MCC statement said this: MCC can confirm it has suspended 3 members identified from earlier today. They will not be permitted back to Lord's whilst the investigation takes place. We maintain that the behaviour of a small number of members was completely unacceptable. And whilst there was no suggestion by Pat Cummins that there was any physical altercation, it remains wholly unacceptable to behave in such a way, which goes against the values of the club. MCC condemns the behaviour witnessed, and once again we reiterate our apology to Cricket Australia. We are thoroughly disappointed to be talking about poor behaviour when the long room, as stated by Pat Cummins himself, he is otherwise renowned for being really welcoming. It's been a thrilling day to finish off a wonderful 5 days of Test cricket. Well, Australia may lead 2-0, but they'll be without spinner Nathan Lyon for the rest of the series after he suffered a calf muscle tear. Lyon suffered the injury in England's first innings. He's likely to be replaced in the team by spinner Todd Murphy. Well, this is what Lyons had to say. This is just a little speed bump in the road. This isn't career defining. I'm hungrier than ever to get back out there.